all. But first, let's bring in Steve Forbes, Forbes media chairman and editor-in-chief. Steve, great to see you.
Good to be here.
Really want to get your take on Trump's cabinet picks, okay? So Kevin Hassett, the latest, and the NEC. I love Kevin Hassett. I think it's a great spot for him. But take it all in total. What do you think about who he's put in place for this economic program?
Well, I think you see it in the markets, which really have gone up, especially since the election, and reassured, especially about the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. Somebody who knows the markets, knows overseas, and therefore will provide a dose of reality in terms of policy making, because they now have to prepare for a big push to get a tax bill passed early next year and not have it junked up in a way that the Democrats have an opportunity to sink it, which would sink the economy.
Right.
We have a tax bill, but we also have tariffs. And I think one of the big questions we've been asking our guests are, do tariffs work as a negotiating tool if the other side knows that it's just a negotiating tool?
In this case, it works because they know Donald Trump might be the kind of guy who would pull the trigger.
Okay.
He did last time. It was the first time in decades that a president imposed tariffs like that. It was more like border skirmishes instead of a full trade war. But they know that he is capable of doing those things. Remember that wonderful story of Xi Jinping in Mar-a-Lago in the first part of the term? They crossed the red line in Syria, and while they're having cake for dessert for dinner, Trump calmly tells Xi Jinping, "I'm bombing Syria."
That's pretty brilliant.
So, so they take him seriously, much more than this crowd.
Well, and that's the thing, right? We see what's happening in the Middle East. We see what's happening on our southern border and how his team is already taking steps to try to combat it, Steve. And you feel the sense of, and they've called it this in the past, they'll call it this again, a maximum pressure campaign. He's going to get what he wants from world leaders so that he can make America great again. But ultimately, he's going to put that kind of force in place. And when you look at the Middle East specifically, for example, when you're dealing with a power like Iran, they're backing off now in anticipation of that already. It's amazing. And he's not even in the White House yet.
Well, and also they're beginning behind-the-scenes negotiations between Mexico and Canada. So, in effect, he's already starting to be president.
Right.
And in the Middle East, a big decision is going to have to be made in the next few months. Are they going to let Iran have the capacity to get the bomb? And that may mean military action. So it's good Israel took out Hezbollah, in effect, reduced it as much as you could in that part of the world, and also tells Hamas, you're not going to have a rescue from Hezbollah, you're not going to have a rescue from Iran itself. And the Iranians remember what happened in his first term. They were flat on their backs when he applied the full pressure. I think one of the first things he's going to do is to make sure Iran can't sell the oil the way it has right now.
So that's interesting because one of the implications of the tariffs is Canada sends us a lot of oil, right? So if we do go down the tariff route with Canada, that I think it's 4.5 million barrels of oil a day, maybe, that we're buying from them. It puts a premium on the point you made, which is you've got to get the energy program, the domestic energy program, ramped up real fast if you're going to do a tariff on Canada and if you're going to counteract Iran.
Well, I think with the tariffs, it's going to be more like the sort of Damocles. You don't have to apply them. The fact that they know he could, I think, will push the negotiations. And one of the things to soften up the Canadians is how about renewing the Keystone Pipeline?
Well, he's doing it.
We've talked a lot about that one, too.
Yeah.
I have a question on tariffs as well, staying on that theme, if the why behind them matters. So when we talk about China, free trade, it doesn't feel like free trade. We feel like we've been giving them, you know, unlimited stuff at the expense of Americans. And so the tariffs is more economic. But with Mexico and Canada, a lot of people think that the tariffs are a negotiating tool when it comes to the border or fentanyl. Does the why behind the tariff, if it's economic or border related, matter?
Not to the receiving side.
Okay.
Punishment is a punishment. And so I think, again, they know he'll take action. And so in Mexico case, they have to figure out how they get Mexico to move. And Mexico has to figure it itself out with their nationalistic pressures inside. How do you get to status quo ante? What we had in 2021, when migrants were stopped in Mexico, you had a new trade agreement. They've been violating that trade agreement. And so they got to get it back on track again. And so real test is going to come with the new president of Mexico. Can she have the skills to make sure we get a deal that can get that economy moving? Because we don't want a bad economy in Mexico. That's just going to make things worse.
And she may actually push back. And that's fine if she does, because as a negotiation, you don't expect people to just fall on their knees and accept your first offer. But he is a master negotiator, and that's what this is all about. It's about the back and forth. I don't necessarily think he cares about how you get there as long as you get where he wants to go.
And they may come up with a deal in terms of giving Mexico help in fighting internally the cartels, which is a huge problem. In a few years, Mexico could become a narco state, which happened to Colombia 20, 25 years ago before they got a reformed president in to turn that disaster around. So Mexico has a real incentive to keep that economy going because she's got big problems inside.
Yeah. Big difference for Trump this time, though, versus his first term is the state of inflation coming in, okay? We get the PCE data today, and it came in a little hot compared to September. In other words, it's not going down the way that we need it to go down. How does that affect Trump? I mean, he won this election, you could argue, in large part because he said, I'm not going to let that kind of inflation come back. It's still hanging around. What does he do about that?
What he does is make sure the Fed doesn't misbehave. The Fed has this belief that the way you fight inflation is by depressing the economy, and that's absolute nonsense. So I think you're going to see coming up, it'll come in the next few months, is a clash with the Federal Reserve, not about independence or about interest rates per se. They're whole models. That is, stabilize the dollar. That's how you fight inflation, not by depressing the economy. So it'll be over substance and principle, not the usual thing of independence and interest rates.
But before we let Steve go, got to ask you, sir, your favorite Thanksgiving food. What do you love to eat on Thanksgiving?
Sweet potatoes with melted marshmallows on top.
The best.
America, that's the news that we needed today. Steve Forbes is a sweet potato and marshmallow.
My wife does it better than anyone else.
I bet she does. Great
she
stuff.
didn't say you would say that either, did she?
Good to see you, Steve.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Thanks.